We're back. I can't believe this is happening. Sequential episodes here. I mean, nearly. We're back, and fun stuff has happened. E3, Dave. I mean, don't know why I'm asking you.
I don't know why you're asking me. I wasn't there. You were there, yeah.
I was there. It was interesting.
What happened?
Well, I think I was the only person there.
Apparently, yeah, the show floor was pretty empty.
Yeah, it was...
That's the biggest news I've heard coming out of E3 is that it was dead.
And the power cut. They had a power cut.
Oh yeah, I heard that as well, but nobody noticed because nobody was there.
Yeah. I would...
If you're going to have a power cut, it's the best time to do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'd hate to use the word embattled for E3, but there was a lot of talk going into this one about with Sony not being there.
Activision not being there.
Yeah.
EA sort of having half fucked off already.
But I went on the Tuesday, and it was a bit like, there wasn't many people about.
Which has been rammed on previous years that we've been.
Yeah, I guess the reason they would give is this is the transitional year. Yeah, it was. There wasn't a lot going on. There
seems to be a bit of a confusion about the future of video games. As in, do we buy the next gen console? Do you buy that plus some subscriptions? But those subscriptions maybe don't give you everything. You have to pay a bit more for AAA titles, and then it seems a bit confusing and messy. Except for Nintendo, we're just like we're Japanese. We make little games for your Switch. Get fucked.
Yeah.
Smashed it.
Well, what I really like is the conversation at the moment is Silicon Valley trying to convince us that spending conservatively £170 a year on a cloud gaming subscription for the length of a console gen is somehow more economic than spending £300 to £400 on a console. I don't really...
But it depends.
The economic argument isn't really panning out.
Subscriptions, though, doesn't it? If you get it all, then it would be.
But yeah, but you don't.
50, 60 quid, but you don't. You get some indie titles, and then pay whack if you want to play COD or FIFA.
You get your equivalent of a PlayStation Plus subscription,
which is £7 a month.
Yeah, and then you've still got to, if you want to play the new Assassin's Creed on an as yet unspecified cloud gaming platform that we're not going to name, because this basically applies to probably every single one of them, and has done since OnLive. To be honest, they all seem to make the exact same. Their cost proposition is never good enough, but. It seems to be like if you want to play the latest Assassin's Creed or whatever, you're still going to have to pay 60 quid for it, for access. Yeah,
is this come off the back of the Netflix model being so ubiquitous that games are trying to jump on that to more degree?
It's not quite the Netflix model, is it?
The problem is that Netflix is like £7 and you can give your mum or your nan or your mates your password, whereas...
Well, it's the cakeism model for it's the Silicon Valley cake model, isn't it? Because it's like
the what
the cakeist model where basically like they want it's like imagine Netflix said, all right, it's $7.99 a month, but every time you watch a film, you have to also give us a tenner as if you were buying the DVD anyway.
Yeah, not a great model for a business.
And it's like, well, I mean, it might be on paper a great model for the business.
Yeah, if you're on Silicon Valley wages,
until they discover that nobody's going to go for it. It's a crap model for the consumer, because what does that give you above what we already have? I think people are more willing to shell out a bit of cash, because gaming's always going to have a barrier for entry, and it's always going to be money, obviously, because that's capitalism. But like, I think people would be more willing to be like, well, if I buy the box and I have discs or downloads, and that feels more secure to me than paying for, essentially, I'm paying for the concept of a game.
Do you actually own the games that you buy online? Or is it tricky legal water there?
You've always owned only the license, essentially, for your games. So even, around the edge of your PlayStation disc, like no oil rigs, you can't, not for public display. Your mates can't, not on oil rigs.
You're raging if you were there.
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, there's not a lot to do, lads.
Exactly.
Give us the video games at least.
I know a lot of people who work on oil rigs, and I can guarantee that rule is not adhered to. Also,
I doubt it's that strongly enforced.
Sony flying.
People of Aberdeen. No, isn't it been the case for a long time that technically the discs are still, if you buy a physical game, the disc is still the property of the publisher?
Essentially.
Yeah.
Not that they ever enforce it, but it's in the small print.
So Sony could boot my door down and be like, we're having that.
Yeah.
Your copy of Skyrim, we're having that.
Again, they're not spending the money very well if they're kicking down doors in Tory Wandsworth to get your
the task force
Old games
is going to come in.
invading oil rigs in Scotland.
I mean, ultimately, these things are going to be either a legal get out for badness or a tax dodge, aren't they?
That's why the things are so high. The subscription.
Yeah, but it's mental. It's like it's the idea that cloud gaming, it's never going to be anything other than a mad Silicon Valley pipe dream until the economic proposition makes sense for consumers. And at the moment, they haven't cracked that. And I think one of the reasons they haven't cracked that is because how much are these data centers costing to run?
An absolute
it
fortune.
Must be an absolute. I'd hate to think what the environmental impact of these things is as well.
Cooling needed there, isn't there?
I mean, like, it wasn't like Bitcoin mining.
It's one of the worst things for the environment.
Yeah, and people would just put, so I've just bought 50 graphics cards, and I'm gonna run them all constantly, not even really doing anything tangible. Like, all right, how's that? I mean, isn't a Google fucking cloud gaming data center going to be essentially that, right? It's just going to be a bank of...
and the technological barriers for America, because, there is a large part of America in the middle of it that no one cares about, allegedly.
I've read that America has worse broadband infrastructure than Sudan.
There's data caps. As you say, the whole infrastructure is bad and slow, and you're at the kind of beck and call and behest of the carriers or ISPs out there. So it's one of those things where the idea is great. It's communism, the concept for video games. Yeah. The idea is brilliant. Oh God, we're going to have some communism wanks. Some trots coming in on this
Carry on, comrade.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, even here, someone who I know who's not really into video games but has heard this idea and is like, okay, that works for me, messaged me and said I had to laugh because when I was watching YouTube's stream of Stadia or whatever, that was still buffering. So how are they gonna?
Yeah, I saw a lot of people saying that. It's like the stream of their technical demonstration keeps like cutting to potato quality because the bandwidth can't keep up.
It's like when in the old pop idol days, you'd have someone come on and they'd tell you they were the greatest singer and they would sing and it'd be toilet, but they'd say, "But I can do it. I can make it." And then Simon Cowell's going, "Well, we've got the money to kind of make it work, but are we actually going to fucking bother with this?" So like. Yeah, we can make it work for 3 people. 3 people in Seattle. So, I don't know. But the show floor had very little buzz. I think one of the main attractions was Borderlands 3. They were giving out cool swag, like masks and that. Not that I took it. I won't queue up for stuff. But, just generally it felt a bit empty, whether that's E3 is dying again or where we are in a console cycle. But at the same time, I do believe that when people bag on E3, I get why people defend it because it is, for a lot of people, it is their dream to go. And it is cool to be on the show floor. There is energy there, especially in the years where stuff is really happening. But E3, when it started, was the only place to really see stuff. You would have guys like Julian Rignall flying out, seeing everything under the sun, and then writing up for a lead time of a magazine a month later. And then you would open it and be like, oh my God, this exists. You got people crying at the Metal Gear Solid 2 trailer. It was at 2000. So you got real big hit moments like that.
But they were on magazine subscriptions, weren't they?
Yeah, so but now it's kind of like, you want to queue up and play Modern Warfare, great. But at the same time, the information age has diluted its importance, but also you're still in a situation where, okay, I want to play the game, but is it enough to really want to go and queue up and play a game that will be in your hands in a few months' time? I don't think it is anymore.
That's why I don't understand, shows like EGX and like the more consumer-focused trade shows that are out there. Yeah, because there has always been a bit of a dissonance between the trade show and the punter trade show.
Yes,
but I've never really understood, because even before I was industry, I would go to these things and I'd be interested in like EGX had the dev sessions and and just the community around it where you had all these events and stuff, and this in the similar way that E3 has, and that was the attraction for me. The thing about what people did in 2011, like queue up for 45 minutes just to get a 15-minute shot of Skyrim. I remember that being a thing. Yeah. And I was like, but you're not going to get any sense of that game whatsoever. whatsoever.
Still just designing your character's beard 50 minutes.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I don't know. There's always been a sort of like, but how, what is the draw for people? Is it really getting to play a snapshot of a game that's not going to come out for 6 months?
Well, when they open
how valuable is that
to the public? There's that you kind of betwixt and between now. I remember seeing Ghost Recon Wildlands in behind closed doors demo and really raving about it. So Watch Dogs behind closed doors, Metal Gear Solid 5 gameplay behind closed doors. And so if you're in the press or the media, that is fantastic. That's great. But again, if you're a consumer, you're probably not seeing those things.
Yeah.
And
you're not getting the session where there's like devs taking you through the game and stuff. If you're a punter, you're just like, there's a controller.
Yeah.
You got 10 minutes, I'm going to boot you out.
Exactly, right? So, I don't know. There's a lot of talk about how maybe E3 should move from the convention centre. It's not the greatest location.
It's your spiritual home now.
I know, I live there. I've got a tent there. But it's, I don't know. Like, the internet there is fucking wank.
Yeah.
And the halls are too far apart. So you got journalists saying, I've got one appointment in South and, appointment in the other hall. And it's like, well, you've got 3 minutes to get between them. Wrong. Even at a full clip sprint, you probably get up the stairs.
Yeah.
I think they do need to change either the format or the location and maybe take it on the road. I mean, a European E3, I think, would do gangbusters.
Yeah, taking on the road is probably a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, as you said before, Jim, the only reason E3 still exists is because British games journalists want to go on the piss.
It's definitely just a smash.
I think Dave said that.
That was my outsider's observation the first time I went.
Right.
Why does this exist?
Sorry, Dave. Fucking hard references.
Because but Dave, relatively new to the games industry, turns up at E3 in 2017 was it? And he's like, "What is this? Why does this exist? There's no business being done here." Because up until that point, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, it's a trade show. Lots of meetings happen." And Dave's just like, "It's not.
No,
people just go to the Saddle Ranch
get drunk at a different location
and eat fucking."
It on a road though, because if you say you are actually bang up for doing that and wanting to see it, if you don't live in Los Angeles, that is an expensive place to get to.
And
it's also a shit heap.
Diminishing returns as well. It's like, what are you actually getting this year? I wouldn't say it was worth it.
They should put it in Boston.
Well, Dave loves Boston.
That is a fun city.
They should put it somewhere on the East Coast.
They should also
probably that is in New York.
Doesn't need to just be the States, does it?
I reckon. Yeah, maybe.
But is it? It's kind of the American show, though, isn't it? It's kind of.
I think that's just received wisdom, though, isn't it? It's just because it's always been there.
Wasn't it in Atlanta before it was in LA?
It was actually.
Yeah, and there was one in Vegas.
Yeah,
pretty sure Todd Howard talked about one of the first E3s was essentially like a sideshow along with like the porn.
Really? Because they had CES for a while, didn't they?
Yeah,
was that in Vegas?
E3 Edinburgh. What about that, Jim? You'd love that, wouldn't you?
No.
With two favourite things together at last.
Too many things
E3
happen.
Dundee. There you go. The copyrights itself.
Yeah.
E3 Dundee.
Am I wrong?
You call that a knife?
I mean, look, the best thing that I saw at E3 or in LA this year was the 18-acre estate with the mansion in that I went to for a party there.
Yeah, where you got your GTA mission.
While I was on the way up to the hills in the car. And you could see the sat nav in the Uber. I was like, this is it. I'm going to be told to kill someone downtown.
At the very beginning of GTA 5, you pull the house down. Is that basically what
it's around about there, yeah.
My favourite bit of an E3 trip is always the few days before when you're like, oh, it's great, we're hanging about in California, this is cracking. And then that lasts for about 2 days and then it's just horrible.
Bear in mind, you two don't like any form of sunshine. So
I like sunshine.
You're both wading across the fucking beach in thick woolen socks.
Ralph Lauren thick woolen socks tonight. The heat was unfucking.
Excuse me, I liked the sunshine in Tokyo.
There was no sunshine. What are you talking about?
Overcast the entire time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just you like stifling humidity then, and no actual
98%
sunshine.
humidity, like being in a shower with rain
It's
masks.
basically
get a
like
nice coffee, hot
discovering that Japan literally has the same color palette as every anime you've seen, and you're like, well, of course that makes sense.
It's got the same colour palette as England, except it's much warmer, and you get hot coffee.
It absolutely doesn't. Anyway, never mind this talk. It occurs to me that like E3 is like the opposite of sex in that. Like,
okay,
this should be good.
Oh, right, okay.
Get yourself a seat for this one.
The first time you do it, it's cracking, and then every time after that, you just want to get it over with.
So you got worse at sex as you went along. You've really fucked that up, Jim. That was your analogy, though.
No, you've completely you've twisted this.
Nailed
completely.
it the first time, and since then it's been downhill.
But that's. I said E3 is the opposite of sex. So the first time you do it is great, and every time after that it's hell, and you want to get it over with.
Okay, got you.
Fucking hell. Well, you fucked that by not listening.
Yeah, I wasn't listening either. Sorry about that, Ron. So yeah, E3 this year was a bit of a washout. In terms of the show floor stuff and the buzz and the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it, especially when
you still enjoyed it because you're a wank.
Yeah, especially when I jumped into the pool in the Sunset Plaza and realised it was 9 feet deep, and I was still going and going and going. And on a savage hangover, that's not what you want. That's the start of the deep.
That's how you'd want it to go, though, really.
Oh yeah, dead in the pool on Sunset. I mean, it's going to happen. It might have happened. This may be a dream.
Yeah. What a shit dream.
Didn't you go to the E3 of films this year?
Oh, to Cannes.
Yeah.
Well, I was in Cannes when the film festival was on, but we don't have a film to sell yet, and I also didn't have a ticket to any of the films that were on there.
Yeah.
Should have just fucking walked in, innit?
I mean, you've been very liberal with saying that I went to Cannes, but yes, I was at Cannes.
I mean, you literally did go to Cannes.
The town, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to name the fucking festival after the town it's in, then...
and it absolutely leathered it down, so I couldn't even sit on the beach.
Yeah.
Classic.
Oh, that's rubbish.
Classic.
Yeah. But I do quite like that the like film E3 is quite a civilized affair, but like E3 is just a lot of British games journalists like vomiting on the pavements and that.
Yeah, there is quite a lot of that. I'm surprised actually that there's not more shenanigans, because you know what the Brits are like. They'll fly 5,000 miles to go to a fucking theme bar.
I think the reason why there's been a bit of a downturn in shenanigans recently, in the past few years anyway, is just because everyone's getting old.
Oh,
I mean, we're 35 now.
no, yeah, I'm not.
You almost are.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I almost am. I'm 34.
Yeah, exactly.
For another 3 weeks.
Yeah, but that's fine, because you'd be fucking deed soon, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you'd have to worry about it.
Also, there's loads of youngsters coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, but they're all knobheads, aren't they? They're all fucking...
No, classic fucking boomer
generation.
They haven't
It wasn't like this in my day, was it?
They haven't done the graft, have they? There's so many of them are still impressed by the idea of being flown to LA and.
You're getting too negative now. This is the Positivity Forever podcast, mate. Do you know what's great?
You switch face and heel here.
Yeah, I'm going FaceTime, mate.
Yeah, this is the crack.
Yeah.
I actually I quite like. I'm generally pro young people. I quite like them.
On the way back,
don't react like that, because you got to fucking edit that out.
Oh, excuse me, it's just a chuckle. It could be anything.
You've never chuckled in 34 and 3/4 years, you twat.
You immediately made some being positive about the upcoming generation, and you made it sound like I was doing a Savile.
Right. I mean, I think you made it sound like that. But listen, I went to this house party in the hills, and then it became readily apparent that I was probably not going to make the flight that was leaving in about 3 hours' time. Mm-hmm. So I called United.
Yeah.
I said, look, this flight's got to go. And I was stealing myself, not in a bad way, not like,
Yeah.
But I was stealing myself for a big bill, and it was 120 notes. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but now I had to change in George Bush Airport, Houston. So I've never been to Texas before.
Which Bush is it named after?
41, not 43.
Okay.
I think. There'd be a W in there, or like some sort of fucking idiotic face of his. Anyway, so, everyone's like, oh, everything's bigger in Texas. Okay, this airport, fucking hell. It's the biggest place I've ever fucking been.
Yeah.
It's got about 15 terminals, and each one of them has like Terminal 5, Heathrow levels of shops and restaurants and bars. Said, oh, it's from Terminal C to E, it's a 20-minute walk. No, it's not. No, it's fucking not. If you're the Flash, it's fucking real. I just kept on walking. I thought, I'm going to be arrested soon. You can't walk like this in an airport. You can't walk in a straight line this far. And we know. Hey, we know that.
Yeah.
Gamescom, on it.
But
do you know what's meant?
I got out of the plane, so and then there was the guy, and he was in the fucking cowboy hat, and I was like, I love America. Yeah. I love it. It's brilliant.
But the thing is, Houston's not even, like, in world city terms, Houston's not even that big. So why does it need an
big gateway?
Yeah, but
why does it need an airport the size of a city?
It's unbelievable.
It's mental. It's like America is fundamentally an unsustainable culture because, like, in order for an American to exist for 15 minutes, it takes enough resources for someone in the third world to live 3 lifetimes.
When I was flying over Texas,
I've not done the maths on that stat, but
don't quote me. When I was flying over Texas, I was looking out of the window on the plane, just like, fucking hell, there's too much land here. These guys all voted for Trump, right? All these weeds. Thanks to Electoral College. Oh dear, politics chat.
And that's the one of the problems with polarized politics over there as it is on our island, is that you can't even say that about any particular area, because even if you look at like the bad things people have voted for over here, it's razor thin. All the margins are razor thin.
Yeah.
All you can say all you can say definitively, because they talk about how like, oh yeah, this was a big leave area, they voted 54% in favour of it. It's like, that's just half the people. That's not a big leave area. There's just people
marginally more.
There's just asking a binary question of people, some of whom are Bellends, and some
just build a big wall at Birmingham and Remain has gone one side, Leave on the other, and crack on. I
mean, you'd literally split the entire population down the middle. But anyway, carry on.
No, Jim. So while I was there, I know a guy who lives out there, a British guy, and he was saying he really wanted to go and see Godzilla, the American one.
Yeah.
And he said, do you want to go and see it? And I said, no, because I had an early flight.
Yeah.
And so he went to see it. And when he came back, I said, how was it? And he said, it was fucking bollocks. And there was too much talking. Now I'm going to go for a wee now, because I've got a tiny child's bladder. And you're going to talk about your experience with both the American and Japanese versions of Godzilla. Mm-hmm. Feels like there should be a jingle here. Maybe an advert for something. Like, I don't know. Give us fucking money and we'll talk about your shit. Right, talk about Godzilla.
Right.
Right, wait.
Oh, he has actually got. It wasn't a bit. Okay. Well,
I'll talk about it. It'd be funny. Talk about it.
Well, firstly, I disagree with the assessment of Burns' mate that there was too much talking.
I disagree with the concept of Burns. Full stop.
Yeah. But I think the one thing that the legendary Godzilla films, monster films, get right is the balance of human drama to monster drama. Because as much as people on Twitter like to say these things, 2 hours of zero context Godzilla battering Rodan,
I find it fucking boring.
You get desensitized to that really quickly. It's like, what's everyone's chief complaint about Uncharted games? It's too much gunplay. It's the only time you're fucking doing anything. Too much of that, People like climbing. People like, discovering things and watching the cutscenes. That's the thing people like doing.
Uncharted 4 did that really well.
Yeah, Uncharted 4, Uncharted 4 was the best balanced one of the lot. But, that was a chief complaint of that, and I find it really similar in that if people talk about monster movies as if the minute it cuts to people, then they've messed up. It's like, oh God, why they cut? It's like, but
they're the heart of the story.
Exactly. You can't have a Godzilla movie without people, because when people are just reduced to like screaming masses, that's not the point of. That's not where the peril is. Anyway, so I was just saying what your mate said was bullshit. Anyway, it was perfectly balanced in that way.
You can apply that to any quote, really.
It's from fucking Jordanland, and I never take anything he says seriously or literally.
Well, everyone from the northeast of England deserves to not ever be listened to.
That's unbelievable. How dare you besmirch an entire... This is the
You're basically
podcast.
From the northeast of England, just a little bit further up.
No, excuse me. No, I'm not.
So, but
from the southeast of Scotland, which technically is right next door. But
the thing about Godzilla is that how many times he's like a fucking drunk trying to get back into a nightclub, right? How many fucking times are we gonna have to put up with this? Can't we just talk to him or something?
I tell you what I love about
give him a kebab.
I love how he's the big lad, isn't he? He is. Right.
That should be the tagline. They've really fucked up by not having that as the tagline.
The big lad's back, Godzilla 2. Like I was describing it to people in like, it's wrestling, right? In the same way that fucking Avengers Infinity War is wrestling, right? Because it's like, your big lad turns up, batters all the other big lads, and then he wins, and you're like, that's wrestling, right? So this film is like Godzilla King of the Monsters. This is King of the Ring before WrestleMania.
Okay, got it.
Right,
all right, I'm in now.
So this is setting up the big fight that is Godzilla versus King Kong, which funnily enough, is going to feature Godzilla and King Kong having a fight, which comes
maybe that is central to that premise.
Yeah,
which
comes out next year. That's Hulk versus Andre the Giant, right? That's what's happening there. Yeah. It's brilliant. But yeah, anyway, I took my kids to see Godzilla 2 because they love monster movies, they love Japanese stuff, they love just, things blowing up in CGI because they're children. We had a great time, and when we got home, I was like, I tell you what, do you guys, because they love anime and stuff like that, and I was like, I tell you what, should we watch Shin Godzilla? Which is the Toho film that came out in 2016, which is... it's the best comparison, I think, between like what an American Godzilla film is like and what a Japanese Godzilla film is like. Because, they're both being made at similar times, literally, in human history. And so I said to them, well, you guys like Japanese stuff. Let's watch this Japanese Godzilla film and we can, let's see how different it is. And I don't think they were prepared for quite how different it was because the Shin Godzilla is a film about government meetings.
Is it a George Lucas production?
It is a film. I love it. I absolutely loved it. But it is a film about a load of salarymen discussing how to get the trains back on once Godzilla's like smashed the place up and going, oh, fucking hell. There's literally a bit at the start of the film where they're like, oh, fucking hell, the trains are off in that tunnel. We're going to have to sort that out. Yeah, I'll tell you what. So let's get the governor on it. And then all those scenes are happening. And then it cuts to Godzilla having a bad day. And then it cuts back to every time it cuts back to the Tokyo government building, the meeting just gets bigger and bigger.
I do like that touch.
So like it's just, starts off and it's like 15 people looking a bit concerned in a meeting room, and then it's like 30 people in a slightly bigger room, and then by the end of the film there's an entire building, there's 200 people in it going, oh fucking hell.
I'm seeing all of this, by the way, in the RoboCop meeting room. That's where it's playing.
Yeah.
But it's
but does he fuck shit up in it or what?
Yeah, of course he fucks shit up.
Where does Godzilla actually live? Where's his gaff?
He lives in the sea,
Okay, fine, but where?
In the fucking sea.
But where in the sea?
Well,
you think you notice the cunt fucking lolling around?
I mean, in fairness, the sea's pretty big.
Yeah, bollocks, mate. James Cameron's seen it all. He'd find it. James Cameron versus Godzilla.
King of the Monsters does directly address this.
Has he got a fucking apartment down there?
You literally see his gaff. You see where he sleeps and everything.
Okay. Has he got a telly?
No, he's not got a telly, but he's got...
You'd be mad, wouldn't you? Because you're so fucking... Yeah, you're so massive and you can do anything, but you can't have a fucking telly?
Yeah. I don't think he'd be
being in jail.
I don't think he'd be able... He'd be able to operate one with his tiny...
He could get a guy for that! What would Godzilla...
This is a shit Godzilla film.
What would Godzilla watch on telly? What would he watch?
Mob
would he
Wives.
watch... what's that? Fucking Deadliest Catch. That's what he'd watch, right? And he'd be like...
or just Robson and Jerome fishing or whatever it is.
Extreme fishing. He'd be like, that's not extreme. Imagine Robson and Jerome versus Godzilla. Now that's a fucking movie. Yeah. Not where I'm in the government and I'm mad about fucking train tracks.
Yeah.
The guys who fucking butchered Unchained Melody and went to number one.
And that's the entire soundtrack.
Exactly. That's on. And that's why Godzilla gets a fucking face on. Because he's listening to Radio Luxembourg down there and decides, you know what?
Well, he's got radio then, he's not.
Yeah, he's not a fucking... Well, he is an animal, but he's not a savage. Anyway, so he fucking comes up and he's like, right, I've had enough of these bastards. And that's that. And everyone and the government go, all right, fine. So it's 20 minutes long and it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I'd go for that. Yeah.
Imagine the poster. You'd have to watch it.
You have to watch it.
You're in the cinema. And you're like, what the fuck?
The fucking trailer would be amazing.
The poster would look like a publicity shot from that old TV show Dinosaurs, where they're all sitting around in the living room watching telly. It's a great show, isn't it? That's what he'd watch on telly.
Wasn't that just Roseanne, but they were dinosaurs?
Yeah, he'd find it relatable.
A bit less racist, allegedly.
He'd find it relatable.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like, the baby's really cool.
Yeah, but I quite like. So I love that difference between like the Japanese. I'm not like in any way an expert on monster movies. I'm a very recent watcher of this stuff, so I haven't been watching old Godzilla movies since I was a kid or anything like that. Not weird, but
how many times have you watched DS9 from start to finish?
Yeah, well, I am weird in that way, but not in this specific way. But like, I'm really getting into them. They're really fantastic. And on the back of that, I have started watching some of the older ones. But I think one of there's two scenes in there's a scene in Shin Godzilla and a scene in Godzilla 2 which really I think, set out the stall when it comes to like setting out the difference between the American take on this idea and the Japanese take on this idea. And obviously, I think everyone sort of knows that the genesis of Godzilla is as like a personification of America, the nuclear power that bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? Is literally like the personification of nuclear devastation. So with that in mind, there's a scene in Shin Godzilla where they've tried to take it out in a million different ways. And now it's getting to the point where like the UN has passed a resolution. The UN has passed a resolution, and they're waiting on approval from the Japanese government for the Americans to go and drop a nuclear bomb onto it, right? And obviously, this is a really, culturally, this is a real moment in the film where they stop to consider what kind of world they want to leave behind once all this is settled, where they really have to stop and think about, they're having conversations like, are we really going to sign off on the Americans dropping another nuclear bomb on Japan? Is this, would we even want to live in a world where that has happened and we've signed it off?
That's a brilliant plot line.
And it's a wonderful twist on that whole idea. And it's a real moment in the film where they really do stop and debate it and consider it, because as I've said, like there's a lot of meetings in that film. The equivalent scene in the American film in Godzilla 2 is there's just this bit where fucking King Ghidorah and Rodan are having a big fight somewhere above the Pacific Ocean, quite near the coastline, and the people in the Monarch plane, all the protagonists because they've got this giant stealth plane that's basically like their base, right?
Okay.
And they get a phone call from the American military, like a Skype call, and there's this general going, by the way, you better get out of there because we're gonna drop an oxygen detonator bomb. Cracking new bomb we've developed. Literally detonates the oxygen in the atmosphere, kills everything stone dead in a radius of 200 miles, right? So you better get out. And the town's all gonna be dead, the fish are all gonna be dead, everything. So and they're like, how much time do we have? When are you gonna launch it? And they go, we've already launched it. It's gonna be with you. It's gonna be with you in 90 seconds.
That's what you write your essay on, isn't it? At universities, that scene between the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's no like 25-minute debate about whether or not we should sign off on this. It's like, oh, it's done. Oh shit, yeah, well, we better leave.
Yeah, but
then.
that's just good leadership. What was that? The best Godzilla movie is the one with the Beastie Boys, right?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't have any talking, apart from. It has a little bit of spoken word stuff. But you got the Beastie Boys and whoever the fuck those robot lads are. It's basically Godzilla, right? No, this, oh wow, but what about the environment? It's like, look, this town's getting fucked up and the Beastie Boys are playing. I'm sorry, why even bother making any new ones?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Questions now.
I was going to stick with nuclear threat and move on to Chernobyl.
Oh yeah,
all right. I've not seen it, but you guys can talk about it while I play Tetris or something.
Definitely should watch it.
Yeah, wow, it's gone off now. Listen, I know everything I need to know because I played Call of Duty 4.
It is basically that scene.
50,000 people used to live here. Now it's a ghost town. I can't wait for new Modern Warfare. We get to that in a minute. But
I briefly started Call of Duty World War II.
Yeah.
I know it came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
but it's a cracker.
It's got good graphics, there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wicked. I like going around shooting shit up.
I quite liked it.
I also started Rage 2.
Yeah.
Which I thought the shooting was good, but I got a bit bored of that.
Yeah.
You could say you were raging. Yeah.
You're playing that, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm not that far into it at the moment because I've got quite a lot on the go. But yeah, I quite like Rage 2. I really like the first one.
Got a lot on the go, you fucking wanker. You saw 2 Godzilla movies in a week.
Yeah, I was like, that's what I've got on the go. I'm watching a lot of films at the moment. Also, fucking Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I've sunk about 90 hours into it and I'm still nowhere near finished. That's
still happening.
That game is too big. I love it though. No, Rage 2, I really liked the first Rage and I was really surprised when they announced a sequel for it. And then I was further surprised that the sequel didn't seem to have anything to do with the first game whatsoever.
I don't know, it picks up from the end of the first one.
I was going to say, until
it doesn't really give you much context.
No, but this is the point I'm making. From the marketing, it looked like it had absolutely nothing to do with Rage apart from the name. And then put up the game, and it's like, oh no, this is a direct sequel to the first game, and there's literally...
Which I guess from just the fact it launches into this story that you haven't been given any context to.
Yeah.
But I guess that game's not really about the story, is it?
No, it's
right now it's not great. Is it? The shooting's good, and that's basically what it's about.
Well, the shooting's cracking. I mean, that was the thing about the first game. The shooting was amazing.
Yeah, the first game didn't have any textures.
Yeah. Well, it did, though, didn't it?
I mean, they were more like, just whenever they wanted to turn up, they would.
This was the point where you could run games off the hard drive instead of the disc, and anyone who ran it off the hard drive didn't have a problem.
Okay, so that's the user's fault, is it?
So don't run it off the disc.
Excuse me. How dare that? So you're anti-consumer now, are you?
I'm not anti-consumer.
That sounds like you are.
I'm not anti-consumer. I'm saying Steve Burns, fucking tech journalist, if he can't figure that out.
This is the PS3 version I'm talking about. I'm talking about your fucking wank install.
Well, well, don't play games on the PS3 like some sort of idiot.
I was paid to, and it was painful. I once wrote a cover feature for God of War Ascension, and it was just massively negative. They're like, you can't do that. Like, why? It doesn't look very good.
Yeah.
They went, well, Stephen, we're trying to be positive here.
Do you remember how bad the PS3 was?
It was a load of bollocks, wasn't it?
Every time it comes up about backward compatibility, that question about backward compatibility, and because there's a bit of a... Sony have got an inherent problem where like all their consoles prior to the PS4 were they ran on really exotic hardware, so they're like really difficult to emulate, which is why the only way you can play PS2 games on a PS4 is via like PS Now, right?
Yeah. Is the new model of subscription, if it figures itself out, not solve that problem for backwards compatibility? Obviously not for discs, but
it won't be backwards. It'll just be in the same way.
It's not really backwards compatibility. No. It's
just online and archive.
Yeah. In the same way Netflix, when you have old movies on Netflix, is not backwards compatible.
Yeah.
But the PS3 was a load of bobbins. I mean, let's be honest.
360 was boss.
360 was amazing, and they absolutely fucking janked it with...
excuse me, Xbox SXXS was the best console.
I wasn't going to say anything, but now that you mention it, it is...
Xbox One X, the UI is still bad.
The UI is still a bit rubbish, but...
Yeah, that's all I care about in a machine. The UI.
I don't even know if you're joking at the moment, because like every time you watch...
a bad UI, mate.
Every time you watch a film, the only thing you care about is the fucking tailoring. Isn't
excuse me, and the watches and the wigs.
And the
How
fonts.
dare you?
Doesn't that count as the tailoring?
Fonts. Oh, you've broadened your horizons recently.
I don't mean the fucking guy from Happy Days.
I mean, isn't the UI of a console essentially its tailoring, right?
100 exact. Thank you. Finally.
No, that wasn't being said in support of your domestic nonsense.
Like it was. It sounded like it was.
No. I have to pull a Spock here and be like, I understand it. Doesn't mean I agree.
Spock's a fucking not a good person. Spock's walking around
Where
thinking,
was that going before you self-corrected?
Well, best we don't really
somewhere, litigation.
Yeah.
Speaking of Spock, Nicholas McHale, what are your thoughts on the apparently sweary Tarantino Star Trek? I guess that's largely at you. I'm
a bit on the ropes on this one, because I'm constantly on record as basically saying that like every version of Star Trek has to be its own proposition, and why can't you have lots of different takes on Star Trek, and I'm totally on board with it. But the idea of Quentin Tarantino doing a Star Trek movie makes me come out in fucking hives. Particularly as well because all the, as he even says in his question, all the discourse about the Tarantino Star Trek is all about him going, oh yeah, I'm going to do a Star Trek and it's going to have swearing in it. In fairness, he was asked the question, but it's like, but if that's what you're bringing to the table,
it's a bit boring, isn't it?
That's rubbish.
Yeah.
And Star Trek already has like that in it. It's not, you're not even breaking new ground in Star Trek. And even if you were, it's really crap and unnecessary ground to break. So I don't understand why this is even a discussion. I don't want him to make a Star Trek movie. I don't like him.
Seems like a strange
He's a
marriage.
creep.
Seems like a strange marriage to have Tarantino and Star Trek.
Well, he's a very important man in Hollywood, and he can basically have any job he wants, right? And that's what it boils
He
down
wanted
to.
Bond for a while, didn't he?
But I think the reason they didn't give him Bond is largely the same that we're saying here is Tarantino's Star Trek, whereas they would never want it to be, have you seen Tarantino's James Bond? It would be, have you seen James Bond?
Didn't Steven Spielberg want to do Octopussy, and Cubby Broccoli said no because he hasn't done, I think he's something like he hasn't done a really important movie. And then after something in the 90s, I think, he sent him a message saying, can I do it now? And they're like, no, because I'm about to die. It's not exactly what he said. He didn't really know he's about to die, otherwise he'd probably gone to the hospital. This is Broccoli, not Spielberg.
I was going to say, yeah.
Spielberg's going to be fucking knocking around for another 200 years, mate. It's going to be him and Godzilla watching fucking Funhouse.
Yeah.
Godzilla's mad telegaff.
I mean, Spielberg's got the art of filmmaking down so well that, like, he doesn't even need to be in the room when it's happening.
All his movies are fucking balls, aren't they?
Like, yeah. You see, which film was it he directed? He literally wasn't there. He was just okaying rushes over Skype or something.
I don't think that's any film.
No, over an ISDN line. There was definitely one in the 90s where he was...
didn't he do the editing for Jurassic Park while he was... No, the other way around.
He was doing Schindler's List on the back of...
While he was in
but that's
Hawaii.
been sent the rushes. He's not the one literally cutting the film together, is he?
No, but I mean, like, wasn't there a film where he's literally, like, directing it via an ISDN line? I'm sure I
that's
heard
the
that.
That sounds like
Schindler's List,
bollocks.
I think.
Nah, I'm sure it wasn't bollocks. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't Spielberg. Maybe it was
Are you
Michael Bay.
confusing this with fucking Copper and his mad silverfish cotton club?
I don't know.
You don't fucking know anything, mate. That's the problem here.
But
all you know about is fucking lizards and
But
that.
basically, in principle, I don't want Tarantino to make any films, let alone a Star Trek film.
Isn't he only going to do one more? Wasn't he going to retire?
He wants it to be this one. That was the thing. He wants his final film to be his fucking shitty Star Trek film, which will probably have loads of fucking weird shots of alien fucking feet.
Sexy.
Do you know what my Star Trek film would be about?
You're watching Star Trek and it just cuts to a big fucking green foot.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not too far away. Look, my Star Trek movie would be...
I don't want to hear what your Star Trek movie is.
It would be, right, they're on the ship and they're flying around.
Is this Enterprise?
Yeah, we'll get in there. And, right, they get a phone call and somewhere in the bowels of the ship, Godzilla has miniaturized himself to the size of a human and is stalking them. And inside of Godzilla's mouth is like a tiny littler mouth that shoots out and grabs people. And they've got to work out how to kill it because Godzilla's now got acid blood.
Do they send in a team of Marines?
Afterwards, in the sequel, they send in a team of... the other day I was thinking, have you seen Ordinary People by Robert Redford?
Oh no,
Yeah,
I thought you just meant in general.
No, it won the Oscar. It was released in 1980. It won Best Picture, right?
Yeah.
It's
Nobody knows.
It's about a waspy family.
Nobody remembers that apart
Donald
from you.
Sutherland and fucking Mary Tyler Moore in it. And a kid dies in a boating accident. I was like, let's make other people, or ordinary peoples. We're a team Marines, go kill that fucking boat. You can see the trailer now. Robert Redford, from visionary director Robert Redford.
But the boat is above Godzilla's house.
Exactly, and they just
all comes
so they
together.
can't
It's
fire
coming
their
full
weapons
circle.
without disturbing. I mean, this thing rises itself. Okay,
Jim's just staring into the distance with his head in his hands at the minute. This might be the one that's finally broken. Would you prefer a Tarantino Star Trek or a Steve Burns Star Trek? Or death. Or sweet death.
I'd rather just be shot in the fucking head, yeah.
I think my one would be pretty good. We'll get Ridley Scott in. I'll just exec produce it.
What is it we said before this fucking before this podcast? What was it me and Dave
Why are you
both
not allowed
said
to
to
reference
Burns?
Ridley Scott?
Not allowed, right, we're
You
having
said
a
no Alien 3
moratorium.
and you broadened it to no Ridley Scott.
No,
Alien 3 wasn't directed or produced by Ridley Scott.
No Alien chat, no Ridley Scott chat, no fucking Terminator chat.
I'll talk about Ridley Scott whenever I want, you can.
Anyway, moving on from Alien stuff, Elliot Brooks asked, do you think we'll eventually find contemporary visualizations of future tech as nostalgically cool as we do for stuff from the 70s, like the green monitors in Alien?
Oh, I thought we weren't talking about that.
That was the coup.
So kind of retro futurism, right?
Yeah.
I think that what people like about it is its quaintness.
Yeah.
And how analog, and obviously it's digital, but it's referencing that kind of almost, that point, a lot of computers.
Also the same as Star Wars as well.
Yeah, it feels like vector graphics, essentially. The primitive nature, but the cool, clean lines of it, like the green tech.
It kind of ages better than predicting future technology, because inevitably your predictions about future technology are way off.
Yeah, I mean, so the computers themselves, it's a screen and it's an interface. So really, you're okay. I mean, when the original Star Wars, the targeting system has got like a vector graphics thing. It looks cool because it's nice and clean, and even though it is primitive, you go over. I think that when you start complicating matters, that's when it's going to date much more than that, because it's just green text on a black background. I mean, you had Star Wars in '77, and 22 years later, you had The Matrix, which had green text on a black background. So you won't ever lose the coolness of that aesthetic, and whether that's the circle of it being made cool because of not inherently how it looks, but by the reaction to the movies it's in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically all this fucking iPhone shit.
Although one film that did it well was Minority Report. I could definitely see walking into, Gap and having them going, "Hey, Stephen, we've got a whole new range of watches in for you today." That hellish future is definitely around the corner.
Yeah, but your arms will get too tired, won't they? With that kind of interface.
What are you talking about?
The interface that he uses all the time in Minority Report.
No, I'm not on about the one where he's chucking his arms around. He just walks in a store and it starts selling his shit.
Yeah,
like our entire world is built on.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, that'll
It's not fine, Jim. It'll be awful.
Wow.
But it will happen.
Yeah, I mean, late capitalism's a wild ride, isn't it? Any more questions about stuff?
I've got one here from Mick_boss. How long till Nicolas Cage is in a video game? Hopefully not that long.
Has he already been in one?
I mean, he does anything if you put fucking cash in front of him, doesn't he? So it's surprising that he hasn't.
I would like to see Nicolas Cage in an adaptation of Bad Lieutenant.
The video game?
Yeah.
Wow, that would...
Just, actually you've got Werner Herzog in your ear just talking to you constantly. So it's like a point-and-click adventure, but sometimes shot from the POV of lizards.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie itself is fucking amazingly good.
It's great, yeah.
I mean, yeah, he probably should be in a lot. He should be in all video games, right?
Keanu rocked up at E3, didn't he?
Yeah, for Cyberpunk. He looked really good in the game.
It's weird how he didn't rock up for like Mike Bithel's John Wick Hex game. Like Keanu Reeves was at E3 and there were 2 games that have Keanu Reeves in.
Yeah, but that's just classic contractual.
Yeah.
It's mad. It's mad though, isn't it? It's just like, yeah.
As a view on capitalism and licensing, it is a bit weird. Like if an alien landed and it's like, right, watch this movie, and it's like, oh, there's a game, cool. So is he in it? No, but why not? He's in the movie. Money's the answer.
Yeah. Oh, and he is in John Wick X.
Yeah, but I mean the fucking promotion and all of that. Sort of shit,
of course, yeah. That was weird. It was weird that he.
I imagine he's quite expensive.
Yeah,
but to my knowledge,
he should have turned up and fucking shot everyone in the front row. Pure experiential, right?
It would have been like, yeah.
Everyone like,
no, it wouldn't have got the news traction. It's already happened 170 times in the States.
That's great, isn't it? Yeah. Love America. It's just like.
Well, that John Wick Hex game looks pretty good.
Yeah.
The Mike Bithell joint.
Is that the official
team? A Mike Bithell joint?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a sort of, it's like they're doing sort of, I might have got this completely wrong, but it's like they're doing a sort of turn-based combat system, but it runs in real time, and it looks a bit weird and a bit like it's got that Bithell thing where there's clearly one really solid mechanic at the core of it, and they run with it.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he's done some good games.
And it's quite cool as well, because like you would think that any John Wick based video game would be a really lazy like first person shooter with bullet time or something weird.
Yeah,
but no, it's like doing something really clever, and we want people to feel like they are clever shooty man who does like lots of brain calculations and
and he's sad all the time because of reasons. I love this, not a new trend, but the trend is like, right, we need some motivating action. Wife's dead. Oh great, does she even speak? Maybe like
it's not really a new trend, is it?
Exactly. It's like, my wife's dead,
bad things happen.
I want to see a fucking action movie where a woman goes on a rampage because her husband's dead. It's probably out there.
No, it's already happened.
What's that Prego one?
What? Oh yeah, Prevenge.
Yeah, Prevenge.
Yeah. I mean, great title. You'd buy it, wouldn't you? If you're...
What was that recent one where... there was a recent one where Liam Neeson...
and Kill Bill, obviously.
Liam Neeson goes to the jail and then their partners... all their wives like team up and do a heist.
Widows.
Yes.
Is that the one? Yeah.
Yeah,
there we go.
really good.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson's not a very good kisser, though.
Yeah.
It?
No, I've not seen that.
There's a lot
Have you kissed him,
too much time.
Is he quite an angry kisser?
It was very, very...
It's quite a...
bit much.
Like, you know, I'd imagine kissing anyone from Northern Ireland is a bit like that. It's quite angry.
Fucking hell, the Tory government are here for a quick chat, are they? I'm Rory fucking Stewart's in here. Fucking unbelievable. Right, on that fucking note.
It'd be either that or it's just a quick peck in the chicken like, now settle down.
Cannot believe the slander that's occurring.
I'm thinking mainly of PJ.
Yeah. Speaking of PJ, that Twitter thread the other day about what's the biggest load of bollocks that anyone's ever told you, and usually it's when you're at school. Someone will say something, but someone responded saying that when she was in a bar once, a guy said to her that he reckoned he could kick down an entire house just with his legs over the course of a year. And then everyone's laughing at it. And then she says, but actually, his strategy, after a while I was enthralled and definitely believed he could do it.
I would watch, that should be live streamed for a whole year. It sounds like a brilliant idea.
So apparently his plan was, he'd wait until it was like October in the rainy season.
It's pissing it down now and it's June.
He'd get on the roof and he'd kick all the tiles off and then kick through what's underneath. And then he'd just leave the house until, spring. And obviously all the water damage would have rotted the interior and probably some of the exterior walls. And he'd find a crack in one of the walls, because obviously all the water would have cracked it. And he'd start kicking that away. And then once it was open, all of the animals would move in on the floor and start burrowing into anything. And then by the time he got rid of a retaining wall, the whole gaff would go. And I'm like,
I've never met this person, but I've got absolute faith that he could do this.
Who goes, PJ mainly, but who goes, I could do that. I could do that.
See, I wish I had like Elon Musk's money now. Where I'd go, all right, how much? What do you want a year? I'll pay you that. You kick this fucking house down.
Fucking brilliant. No, absolutely brilliant. Look, on that note, we got to go and shoot now because I've got a lot of jet lag and I don't feel very well. So don't give me your sympathy. I don't want it. I want sympathy from Godzilla.
Nobody was offering anything.
Excuse me. I don't mean you. I mean the fucking royal we, the editorial we, the broader audience.
Yeah, still nobody was offering any sympathy.
That's sad. Yeah. Steve doesn't sound very well.
Oh no, Burns is upset.
Excuse me. I've not been upset since
Burns is feeling a bit...
Something you got mugged off on national TV?
No, that was 1990. 1994 was a bad year for wrestling pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I just remember it was feeling like because in those days I used to judge my year between the 4 wrestling WWE or F pay-per-views. And they weren't very good. They weren't, and they upset me. 95, cracking.
Have you noticed that Lorraine Kelly has managed to pull it back now? Because, remember, she came under a lot of fire for basically having the tax arrangements of a mad Tory on the basis that Lorraine Kelly was a character, which she clearly isn't. But then
I can see the argument to that.
But she's back in everyone's good books now because people asked her, if she remembers working with Esther McVeigh, and her response was very matter of fact and not very enthusiastic. And she's basically actually Esther McVeigh can get fucked.
But you're forgetting that we live in a time of an endless sea of total bastards.
Yeah.
So you've really got to be on top of your game to stay on top of that.
Put it this way, we talked about Liam Neeson earlier. No one mentioned the fact that a few months ago he went massively racist and said he was going to kill a black man because his friend was assaulted by a black man.
Yeah. I mean,
just part of the news cycle of the horror of a world we live in.
I mean, just purely for factual purposes, for editorial purposes, we should say that he was telling that story as a redemptive anecdote about how he used to feel.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't personally think that makes it any better. And if I was him, I just wouldn't have voiced that fucking anecdote.
I think his publicist probably felt the same as you.
Yeah, you can imagine just the sheer horror But anyway, that's
it really is like going. Yeah, I used to club kittens to death. Used to be well into it, but I wouldn't do it now. And then going. I'm saying I wouldn't do it now when everyone's going, dude, what the fuck? Yeah, but I don't do it anymore. Was the point? That's what I was saying. No, but
I can't wait to speak to Lou Reese's fucking solicitor on the back of it.
Well, it's all on the records. We haven't repeated anything he did.
Unless we all imagined it, like when we nearly slandered someone extremely famous because we misremembered a Family Guy joke. Anyway, now we've got to run, but we'll be back soon because now we've got to do one of our YouTube shows.
Yeah, we're going to because they're coming. And we'll cover Chernobyl on that, I believe. So, because we didn't really get round to it this time, so we went on a weird tangent.
Yeah, I'll watch
killing
it.
Kittens and shit.
I'll watch it, and then I'll give my opinion, which is the only one that fucking matters.
Whatever.
Shut it, arse piece.